I think without question, 2023 is going to go down as one of the greatest years in gaming, with stellar remakes like Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space, incredible single player games like Tears of the Kingdom, and games truly worthy of Game of the Year like Lord of Ring Golem. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, alright? I still can't believe someone actually typed it out like that. Anyway, you might find it difficult to keep up with every new game releasing from week to week, and I think this is one you don't want to skip on. With this sandwich between Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, and the upcoming Final Fantasy 16, Amnesia The Bunker might be a game that is going under many players' radars, and that's such a shame. Amnesia The Bunker might be one of the best horror games I've played in years, and it's also the first Amnesia game I've played. I always heard about how great Amnesia The Dark Descent is, and wanted to make sure this time around I didn't skip out on what they were cooking up over at Frictional Games. Safe to say, I will be going back and playing everything I missed by them because of how mesmerized I am by the simplicity yet detailed small world of Amnesia The Bunker. Because just like the title of the game, almost the entire game takes place in this dark, claustrophobic World War I bunker where your one goal as a French soldier named Henry Clement, after waking up with amnesia, is to escape through a collapsed passageway while a war rages on above you, and a monster is trying to kill you. To do this, you have to venture out across the bunker, completing various objectives through interacting with this incredible environment, and I really do mean it's incredible. Pretty much all objects can be moved, dragged, or thrown by the player, which opens up different ways to approach situations. Take this first door when you first get into the bunker, for example. You can waste your very limited ammo to destroy it, or you can find a cement block to throw at it instead to break it, saving your ammo. These small choices really add up over time as you slowly make your way through the bunker, and they really do matter. Like, look at these rats. I can't pass them without taking damage, which I really don't want to do, because if you take damage, you will start to bleed. Bleeding attracts more rats, so they follow you around. Or if you're trying to hide from the monster stalking you through the bunker, he will also be able to find you. So I find some gasoline, grab a lighter, and I burn the body the rats are attracted to after throwing a piece of meat to pull them away from it. But that's where the challenge of the game lies. You have very limited inventory space and not many items scattered around the bunker, so when you're making a choice like this, you really need to commit to it. Definitely with how the game handles saving. Your only place to save basically is the central bunker area where you're safe from the monster, which you will be traveling to often, because that's kind of how the gameplay loop of the game works. You find out what your objective is through notes found in the bunker, you plan out which one you're going to do, and what supplies you're going to take with you or need. Then before heading out, if you have any extra gas, you go put it in this giant generator and turn it on because that's the only way to get lights throughout the bunker. But it is limited and your generator will run out, leaving you in the dark. Luckily, there is a flashlight you can take with you, but you have two problems when taking it. You lose one of your limited inventory spaces, and two, you have to constantly crank it so it stays lit, which makes a lot of noise, and that attracts the monster. That's where the cat and mouse game comes into play with the monster. It's attracted to sound. It will constantly be moving around you in the walls and ceilings, making you feel somewhat paranoid. But at the same time, you have to keep moving because your generator is burning fuel, and if you don't take that flashlight with you, you might not be able to navigate safely or counter the monster effectively since you're not completely helpless against it. There are many ways to counter the monster. The easiest way is to hide in a room or closet and wait for him to move on, but that's time wasted with your fuel supply burning away. Alternatively, you could shoot him with a gun or use something like a grenade to chase him away. But then you're using precious resources that could be better used elsewhere, like using that grenade to destroy a locked door. Not to mention, everything has to be done manually, whether that's loading your gun one bullet at a time or using a kit to heal yourself. But even better yet, if you feel safe in the dark and have scoped out an area to know you're safe to move through it in the dark, you can attract the monster near a locked door, and while hiding, you may be able to get him to destroy that door, saving both fuel and supplies. But it's very risky, because like I said, you have the one save room with no checkpoints. So if you die, you go back to your last save, which because of this mechanic, I found myself doing these survival speedruns where I learned the layout of an area, plan how I want to go through it, let myself die, then actually attempt it, and I loved that loop of gameplay because it really made me become efficient in what I was trying to accomplish, which is also where the replayability for the game comes into play. Because if I had one big complaint about the game, and really this is more of me being picky, it's the fact it's so short. I played through the game 3 times now. My first playthrough was probably around 10 hours, which is honestly okay. The game is only $25 or free on Game Pass if you have it, so I can give that a pass. But my second playthrough was 3 hours, and the last was even shorter than that, which somewhat surprised me. I wasn't going in with the plan to speedrun it for those additional playthroughs, but I wanted to test one of the biggest mechanics of the game, which is the fact that passcodes and items in the game are randomized. So at the start of the game, you could find that passcode for the soldier's locker with the lighter, which is incredibly useful early on, or you might find it towards the end of the game, which really sucks like I did on my first playthrough. But even so, this made the game really fun to play through additional times, since even though the primary objectives are always in the same spot, everything else is random and adds to the experience, which speaking of experience, there are multiple difficulties. All 3 of my playthroughs were on normal. There is an easy which adds extra items and save points throughout the bunker, then there is a hard mode which let's just say it's no picnic. Then in terms of performance, the game ran flawlessly on my Series X. My only complaint in that area would be the jarring load points moving between areas in the bunker, and also the rats can also sometimes be pretty goofy when moving around, animation wise. But outside of that, Amnesia The Bunker is a horror title that truly excels in making that resource management style gameplay feel impactful and meaningful through its detailed approach on player freedom through the interactions with the world. The monster is aggressive but not relentless, allowing you to feel a sense of accomplishment every time you survive an encounter with him, and the gameplay loop is perfect for what they have created and tells a story that through various notes that really stand out thanks to the added context from the detailed environments. Now, Amnesia The Bunker might not be taking the world by storm like some of these other juggernauts that have come out this year, but it can say it's a well-crafted, polished game that never makes you feel like you're wasting your time during the entire playthrough of the game, regardless of how long that may be.